yeah, so for the audience, this was like a very spontaneous last minute thing here that we kind of set up. So McFluffin just asked me last night. I think usually it's like the Last Epoch dev stream time right now or something, right? And it's kind of like canceled because they're busy with the launch and stuff. So as far as I'm
Yeah,
aware, and we're just kind of like
he
hopping
reached out to
into,
me.
yeah. Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah,
can
he
explain.
reached out to me yesterday and was like, "Hey, you guys want to like do that spot? Because we're not going to be doing it because like we're super busy with some other work. I don't know what it is, but something else they got going on. Something about 1.0 or something. Anyway, so that, yeah, we're going to do it basically in that slot for them, and they're just going to blast their socials and whatnot.
Mighty Berg is very impressed with your merch, by the way. He has more merch than me, and I work at the 11th hour.
Did you actually add
last
more?
night? I just set that up last night. Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been a long time coming, actually putting that together.
And speaking of working, man, get that patch ready, yeah? Yeah, anyway. So yeah, anyway, to everyone, welcome. So as I said, it's like very spontaneous. We're just gonna like talk about mostly the Falconer. We just had the reveal, so that was yesterday or 2 days ago on Maxwell. I watched it. It was really cool. That was like the Scissorin video, and like all of you guys contributed there, right? And yeah, we can like dive deeper into the Falconer. I'm actually very excited for that myself. I might actually start it. And
what did you like most about the reveal, Woody?
Well, for me personally, I mean, I like
it's
that
kind
it's
of like your class, right? It's like
yeah. I mean, I'm like a rogue guy, and you know, obviously I was intrigued by rogue in Last Epoch, and yeah, I started my first character was a blade dancer, but I was always intrigued by like what is going to be the third mastery, and this Falconer sounds like a pretty cool addition. So I like that there's like this trap stuff. I'm like usually a big like trap enthusiast when it comes to that, and that is always like very difficult to like actually get right in these ARPGs. So it seemed like they have some cool options there, so that was kind of intriguing. Also like the fact that you can play it with bows still, and also with like a rogue with a two-handed melee weapon, for example. Like these combinations. I hope that is going to be like a viable option to play like, you know, like with a spear. I saw there were like some passes that allow you to use a spear. So that would be fun as well.
Like those nodes in net that you can convert it to trap and use puncture from it.
Yes, that's exactly. That seems really busted, actually, when I think about it.
I mean, it's a new mastery, right? So like, it's kind of like in every single game where you release the new shiny new mastery, the new class. They have to make it appealing for players, right? So I don't think they would ever release it if it was not feeling good or could not, you know, compete with other masteries in the game.
Yeah, I guess that, you know, the new shiny thing, you have to make sure it's not like too OP. I heard like Master was apparently like, you know, infinitely scaling and these kind of things. I'm not sure, like, but that's what I heard. I haven't actually tried it, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, the defense aspect, like for example, of Rune Master was crazy when it came out. Like you could generate so much ward compared to what was possible without any gear. So it was like, okay, like 10 times more tanky than any other class in the game, I guess.
Yeah, super broken.
Yeah, that is obviously like too much then at some point, right? So do we have an audio desync right now? Wait a second. So chat says there's an audio desync. Is anyone desynced, or is it just like the Discord lag or something? But yeah, okay, it seems, yeah, whatever, just keep going, yeah. If there's anything, let me know, guys, with the audio. Sorry. Just trying to keep an eye on chat here, so a little bit. But either way, about the Falconer, yeah, I mean, I have not actually had the chance to play it yet, so I was just busy blasting before. I mean, I also have the CT client, but I didn't really log in much. But Falconer is definitely intriguing. But all of you guys have blasted the Falconer, right?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
Quite a bit, okay. I guess it was like the big thing to test like out of the patch. So it would be interesting to see like what kind of like build like options do you actually see that could be a thing, like just like as a general archetype, you know, like there's like, you know, obviously the it's like a pure Falcon build, for example. Is it like something where you combine it with like bows? Is it like something where they do only traps? I mean, so this would be like something interesting.
You have that, but you kind of have to use also the other abilities to buff the Falcon. If you don't use them, you're gonna lose like a ton of value.
Yeah, like using your trap to like buff the Falcon is really good, because you actually can get like an unlimited amount of stacks on the buff. So it can get really crazy. There's no cap on the buff at all. So you throw traps and you know you get like more damage on the on the Falcon. So that's like one
Yeah.
thing you can do.
Like you multiply the damage by 10 or 15.
Yeah, or even more actually.
That's
Okay, so
crazy.
how does a Falcon actually work? Does it have like some certain like base damage, and then can you scale it with your character or something? I didn't actually catch that. Like, is it just like scaling with your level, and then you have like maybe extra abilities to get like temporary buffs? Or
Yeah, so like minions in general in Last Epoch scale with your level, so they have something like called minion power, which scales up to level 100 and gives them more damage and less damage taken as well. And there's some nodes in the falconry minion that allows you to actually scale his damage with your own damage stats as well. So he takes a portion of, for example, your critical strike multiplier, your crit chance, your increased damage. So yeah, it can get pretty crazy if you gear properly for it, right?
Yeah, you could basically do like a kind of like a hybrid build, like using both the Falcon and also dealing damage yourself, because you can, your character stats will apply to the Falcon if you spec into it. So you don't have to be like a full minion enjoyer. So you can actually like do damage yourself also. And there's also a node that gives you like 1% more damage per level. So be level 100, you get like 100% more damage on the Falcon. So yeah.
I think it's going to be very interesting for itemization too, because since you scale both the minion damage and your damage gets scaled for the minion, like for example, legendaries, there are going to be like maybe some unusual legendaries that's going to be made just for the Falcon, just because you can get like double the value.
is it like a hyperscaling in some sense, or is it just like, okay, it's like one-to-one, it transfers your power to the Falcon basically? Like, I'm not really sure. I have not actually played any minion builds in Last Epoch yet, so I'm not a typical minion enjoyer, but this Falcon stuff seemed kind of interesting, but I have no idea about the mechanics. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm not a minion enjoyer either, but I think Falcon would be something I could actually play, because it's kind of like more active play style on the Falconer. Usually the
yeah, I like the
conversions are
dive attack. What is that called again?
Yeah, dive bomb.
Dive bomb, yeah, exactly. So that seems really fun.
Yeah, dive bomb is kind of like the meteor of the Falconer. So it has crazy damage effectiveness. So it's like it's kind of like the meteor, but like just using your Falcon as a big meteor instead. And yeah, so the damage increase you can give him is also like, it's not like a 100% of your stats. It's only a portion of it, so it's not like as hyperscaling as.
You say that, but you can get like 250% of your crit multi. So
I mean,
that could be crazy, dude. I don't know.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there are like two types of buffs. It's like there's one where it takes a % of your stats, for example, a percentage of your like dot chance and stuff. And there is another one where it's like active buff, where you have to use abilities in order to buff your minion. So those usually like scale higher than like 100%.
Yeah, I was gonna like play the video again here, just for the audience to like see the Falconer in action a little bit here. This is like where we had this preview. It's gonna let this run basically, so you see the abilities here right now, what's going on, and maybe also get like a bit of something to like see that we like from the trailer, for example, to talk about. But yeah, in general, I mean, every mastery has I think 5 special abilities, right? And is it 4 or 5? I think it's 5, right? So this is like the dive bomb, and then and so on. So what else is there? There's the caltrops. So
there's net and
the net
explosion trap.
The net transforms into caltrops, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's like a sub skill. It can basically
exactly
like throw caltrops at the same time.
Here we have the overview actually. Okay, net, explosive trap, dive bomb, aerial assault, and falconry. So falconry is basically just like the baseline that you get the falcon at all, or how is that exactly? Do we have to have it on the bar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to have it on the bar to be able to use the other abilities that include the falcon.
Okay, so, this basically means you always have that as a falconer, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then you have the trap that you can throw and the net. Okay. Yeah, I looked a bit of the skill tree, so like the individual skills, they are also here. And there seems to be like really cool like combinations of like converting, especially the traps with the caltrops, or like the net with the caltrops. I like that idea with the puncture, for example. So if you guys had
stuff seems to be pretty pretty strong right now. The trap stuff looks like it's kind of like grabbing a build in PoE and like importing it into Last Epoch. It's gonna be I don't know.
pretty
At
much.
first,
Pretty
it
much.
seems pretty crazy.
I just got a
I
rage.
don't know
Hello,
if you,
guys. Thank you.
I don't know if you saw the Blast Train bow build, but that's basically a PoE build. You have like full screen AoE and everything. So
Was that one affected much by the bug? Because EHG did come out and tell us about the bug
Yes.
for that. So how do you think that's going to affect it?
I mean, it's gonna be like way less projectiles, of course, so it's like more reasonable, but it's still gonna do a lot of damage because it just did way more than it should before. But it's gonna be still good, but you might actually even need to like equip one piece of gear now instead of 0. So But yeah,
Only
it's
one?
not gonna be as flashy, basically.
It's just to clarify, the footage we showed for Volka's build had a bug in it that we weren't aware of until literally yesterday morning, which is way too late to actually do anything about it, except for tell people. So it's not quite as crazy as it's shown on there, but it's still pretty crazy.
To give an idea, it's like it was proccing like 2 or 3 times more than it should have. So
And one thing that I noticed here in the preview is also that a lot of the playstyles seemed like very passive, and you were just kind of like, the Falcon was like going crazy here. Was it just because you're running like low difficulty, and is it like actually that strong, and is it like one-tapping most monsters around you automatically? Like, how is it actually in like real gameplay?
Yeah, I don't think.
Go ahead, Lonstar.
I don't think actually any of the playstyles are passive, even though they do kind of look like that because you're actually pressing abilities that the Falcon is using a lot of times. So I can see how they would look at that on the screen. Also, some of the stuff that's showing on here is like just walking to enemies, so it looks kind of more passive than it actually is. It's funny.
Yeah, but it kind of looks like even if we stand there, the Falcon is actually going kind of crazy, right? It's like very aggressive. It seems like, it's just like directly diving on enemies around you, and then okay, here's like an ability that is used. This was probably the aerial assault or something. And then
this is aerials. This is my favorite and the one I'm doing for 1.0. And this one, like, you're fully engaged with the Falcon. He's picking you up and kind of throwing you and then doing an attack at the end. I love this, man. I love it. So much fun.
It looks really funny, yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. Later you'll see the Shadow Dagger version of it, and it's just explosions everywhere, and yeah, that's my jam.
It also has like a nice little buff in it for the people that liked Ballista. It has an actual multiplier scaling your Ballista damage with intelligence now. So with the experimental affix giving you the ability to grab all of your minions and them being teleported with you when you use a traversal skill. Since it's a traversal skill, you'll use that, bring all your ballistas with you, and then give them an insane multiplier of damage as long as like 75% attack speed.
Yeah, I saw that ballista node actually, and that seemed completely busted to me. I was like, whoa. I mean, that might be something I'm gonna actually want to try with this.
There definitely is going to be something there for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, in general, like, okay, so we already know McFuffin with the aerial assault, so you want to do like the ballista stuff? Like, is everyone here actually going to play a Falconer, by the way, on launch, or are you actually someone else playing something else?
I think so.
I mean, my build is actually not on Falconer. It's actually a marksman, because you only need to spec for like 5 points into Falconer to get the explosive trap. So, it's not technically a Falconer, my build.
Yeah, okay, I saw that in the video as well, right? Where it was like this marksman. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also like another kind of ballista build. It's kind of like more a trapper, but you can actually make your ballistas.
Hey, don't tell the
But
secret.
what if it's just theory crafting? What if?
It's theory, it's theory.
Okay, theory craft.
Because you can't
forbidden build.
Use
Lizard
traps,
says. Lizard
right?
is in chat.
Forbidden build. You can technically use the traps to actually generate mana because you make them cost 0 mana, okay? With some affixes on your ring. And then there's a node that lets it proc Ballista at a 20% chance. So you spam traps, and in Ballista, there's another node that makes your Ballista transform into a giant explosion. And so you could just spam traps to get huge explosions with your Ballistas. And that's going to have crazy AoE and crazy damage. And like with the passive tree, it's going to get a lot of support for damage, like scaling, but basically you can also scale your defenses with critical strike avoidance as offense, because there's a node that gives you crit multi per of your crit avoidance. So that also is going to be a pretty funny thing to witness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And we-
also really balanced also. So
yeah. I mean, that's why we're gonna start with it, you know.
yeah, get it nerfed.
Get it. That's the reason, of course. Yeah, that's just.
Oh, of course. You know,
We just want to try to help balance the game. Yeah, we don't want to play
Yeah,
the
yeah.
overpowered stuff because it's overpowered.
of course.
Exactly.
Hey,
I will see.
maybe we're gonna stop saying no fun allowed in LE, and we're gonna have a little bit of fun now.
Let's see for how long. Yeah, that's probably gonna be like daily patches or something on launch.
I hope there's not too much of that.
Actually,
yeah, we'll see.
how's the patch like cycle in general? I guess they generally do like rather large updates and that is scheduled or something, right? But I imagine when like the launch is happening, like are they actually like hot fixing stuff regularly? I don't really, I'm not really
Yeah,
involved with like these big patches.
That's a great question. We actually have a few devs in chat. If they do want to talk about this, feel free to, because it's been a little bit
Yeah,
of a
some guys, yeah.
question.
Well
Yeah,
done.
it's been a little bit of a question is how they're going to handle that. I know they've had a stance not too long ago about not wanting to nerf things because people will be affected by it, and so the arena is entirely full of just sacrifice builds right now. Like it's just zombie sacrifice builds throughout the entire thing. So I personally hope that at least the stuff that's super broken will get affected. You know, we don't need another what's the D4 Sork build? We don't need another scenario where that just
Ball
insanely
lightning?
broken stuff just holds out all season on LE. But we'll see what happens. We don't really know yet.
No bugs
Surely the
allowed.
ballista build. Surely the ballista build will survive, guys. Surely.
Mhm.
I mean, it might for 1 week. You know, who knows?
Hey, that's enough. That's enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for most people, it will be like also hard to put in perspective. I mean, for you guys, everyone here has blasted a lot of Last Epoch, and you've played like dozens of builds, and you have like a perspective of what a build should do and what it shouldn't, right? And if there's like someone new coming to the game and they have never played it, or they have maybe played it like 2 years ago, like in some other patch or some other class, and now they have no idea how strong they're actually supposed to be, right? So they might just feel, okay, it might be a bit easy now. Maybe it's like too hard for this one because it's underpowered. But I guess it would be kind of wild to see in general, like for like the different builds that people make, especially with a lot of, I guess, new players coming to the game. So I wonder how that is going to play out as well, right? When there's actually going to be like updates, and you have to make sure that you don't like alienate people that just started out with something. And of course, if something is like too busted, you always have to balance it, right? Like make sure it's not like too crazy, but don't nerf it into the ground either, so that it's unplayable. It's it's always important to balance.
What's pretty interesting with LE is that like because there's infinitely scaling on the mapping system and in the arena, like 99% of skills and builds can actually get to the point where they do like maybe like 200 corruption, which is the baseline where you start really dropping any item in the game. So this brings the initial feeling on any skill or any build feels like pretty good, but then obviously there are some like outliers out there that just like push way higher than anything else, or just are way tankier than anything else. But pretty much every build will be able to at least enjoy the campaign, the early end game, and like even a big portion of the end game. But for sure, like balance is always a thing in ARPGs, and so like really hard with all those pieces of puzzles that you're messing around with, and with more pieces added to the game, it's getting harder and harder to balance. But yeah, it would be nice if we could see a lesser a smaller gap in disparity between the best of the best builds and the worst of the worst build. If you can just like it's never going to be perfect, but if you can just bring everything down to like a middle range, would be really nice,
Yeah, because I mean, you could go and play Acid Flask, or you could play any of the new stuff, So it's like, do you get stuck at like 100 corruption, or do you do like, I don't know, 5,000 corruption? So it's the difference is pretty big on the like worst ones. So
as a flask sounds like the 100 corruption build to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You don't want to play that one.
Yeah,
exactly.
never. Even during leveling, don't. Just don't.
Yeah, I tried it very briefly, like when I started out my rogue, and I was not impressed either, and that was already like a long time ago, and like I kind of feel like nothing has happened on that end, so
There's actually a point where it's really good, like between level 2 and like 3 before you get
Okay.
puncture. It's actually really solid, and we
Yeah.
use it at that point. So it's good for like 3
True.
minutes.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
one level, yeah.
Exactly.
but for the one zone mini boss that they have to defeat. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what it's for.
Yeah, I think I did exactly that as well. And then I got puncture, and then I never looked back. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much it.
Hey, don't know. Maybe there's a challenge. You know, you did the only blue items hardcore challenge in Diablo. Maybe there's a acid flask only challenge in Last Epoch. You know.
That's
I
harder.
mean,
man,
I'm
that's
sure
way
there's
harder.
lots of meme potential, I guess. I mean, for me, it's, you know, I'm also like somewhat of a new player. I mean, I've leveled like 3 characters now. You know, I've seen the end game, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not like in meme territory yet, at least. So, but who knows? Maybe at some point, yeah, we're gonna do some memes. Yeah, I like doing that kind of stuff at least. So, you know, taking these underdog skills or builds or something and trying to make something out of that, or just like some weird challenges. It's always fun, you know? Why not try, make the best you can out of the acid flask build?
Yeah, and also like Ellie as a game is so young that you can easily find like some actually like pretty broken like interactions that nobody has even found yet, because it's a pretty small community and stuff, so you can do interesting things.
Yeah, pretty small community. I heard they broke 1 million players.
I mean, now it's getting bigger, yes.
Yeah.
Still,
Well,
Oh,
Everybody's
now.
waiting, basically.
that's
Yeah.
a big
Yeah, like-
big milestone, though. It's really nice to see.
The game is definitely not solved, so like there's still like a lot of room for theory crafting and messing around with different interactions for sure. You know.
Yeah. Like, for example, I can talk about leveling because that's what I do mostly in the game. Like, I've 2K hours in the campaign, basically. And there's barely anybody like min-maxing that stuff. It's also because of the campaign is pretty easy. Like, if you take your time, you're never gonna struggle, no matter what. But yeah, there's a lot of potential left there, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of campaign, actually, so we're gonna have the cycles, and I think we're gonna launch directly with the game launch, right? We're gonna have cycle 1 immediately. Okay, so it's
cycle
basically
is-
seasons, like for the viewers. So this is called cycles in Last Epoch. Do we have like the option to skip campaign? No, right? That's not gonna be a thing.
Not
Yeah,
a
you have
full
to
skip,
go
no.
through it. Yeah, I know you
But
can
you
skip
have-
like the last part of it
okay.
or something, right? And like
You
some
can
of the
do a
You
cycles.
have-
dungeon skip.
Woody,
Yeah.
you have multiple routes that you can take depending on if you're good at the game or if your build can handle it. So you can do like the full campaign, or you can, for example, stop at chapter 7, because at chapter 7 that's where you unlock like all your idols, all your passive points. But you can also do something that we're gonna do with Bina, is to stop at chapter 5, and at chapter 5 we go into endgame, and then later on we're gonna do like a dungeon skip to get to chapter 9 directly. And so we skip like chapter 6, 7, and 8, I believe. So you have like, depending on like your knowledge about the game and your build, you can skip like most of the campaign. You don't have to do it.
That's the anticipated speed strat, since we expect you're going to have to go to chapter 9 to unlock your factions. But you
Yeah,
can get the
there's
rest of
also
your
that.
passive titles there, so you can skip a pretty large portion of the campaign, and it's a lot quicker. I think Tarek's actually done all the way to Empowered in under 4 hours. So,
Yep.
with a solo self-found character with nothing to start with, so you can go pretty quick.
Yeah, but that's Tarek, so
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're not going to do it that fast, but it's possible, but for Tarek at least.
I mean, Tarek is probably like the candidate here for like World First 100 or something, I guess, right? So
Oh, he's yeah.
I have to
He's-
play
he's-
like 24/7.
He's expected to actually win at this point, but Bina's going to give him a run for his money. They're
I
playing
think
together.
Bina-
No, he's
I mean,
not.
we're playing together, so like.
You're cheating.
That's
They're just
true.
Playing together.
are you guys gonna play on hardcore, by the way, or how is that?
I mean,
everyone playing
I'm
hard-
still thinking about it, like, because the servers might be interesting, to say the least, on launch. So I'm not sure yet if I go hardcore, softcore. But then again, like, most people actually don't play hardcore, at least right now, like most streamers and stuff. So kinda want to play hardcore. I don't know. Not sure yet, though. There's so many builds to try also in the game. Like, it would be easier to do in softcore, just like bring out.
Yeah,
so
that's
many
true.
builds.
But I mean, like, you technically don't lose anything from going hardcore, right? Because I think it has like the system where like your character is still preserved when you die, but you
Yeah,
can't play it on
actually-
hardcore anymore, right?
Yeah, actually, the devs just like yesterday said on Reddit that like if you die on cycle hardcore, you will go to cycle softcore. So you know you could actually just continue playing in the same cycle, but just
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Like I know in PoE, for example, like you go from the hardcore season to like standard, right? And then you can basically out, and that character is basically gone, right? But if you actually go to the cycle, I mean that is a much bigger incentive to start hardcore. At least try it, you know? Why not?
Yeah,
And
that's the idea. They want to like
Yeah.
they want people to try the hardcore gameplay.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of like, it's kind of like a marathon, like who actually makes it to the end, kind of like, everyone can just start on hardcore, why not, right? And you see who actually ends up at the end. So it's kind of funny to see, I guess. Every single season start, I guess there might be like way more people actually trying hardcore, playing hardcore as like, not as a way of life, but as like, just like you make a character, you make it hardcore, and you see when is the first time you rip, right? And then you just keep playing. So that could be like a way to do it. Kind of cool. Yeah.
I hope a lot of people play hardcore just for to see the clip in the campaign with the some of the changes. People might die. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it might not be as easy as before.
In which chapter, Tarek, are we dying? Okay, in which chapter?
Are we getting some campaign buffs as well, or what? Is that like anything coming or so? Because I personally, I also felt the campaign is like relatively easy. Like I mean, it's not bad to have an easy campaign for new players and stuff, but I felt like when I started a game for the first time, maybe I just happened to like be on an OP build or something, but I felt the campaign was very easy. So
yeah,
but
it actually is if you go slow. But the thing is that they don't really penalize you that much for going faster and like skipping a lot of like levels, having like a huge difference in level compared to the area level. So that's one way to also increase the difficulty artificially. Is as you go faster, it's going to be harder because you're going to have like less gear.
I guess the speedrunning strats will make it hard at some point, right? So if you try to just like reach monoliths in like like 2 hours or whatever, then I guess it makes sense.
But I mean, like if you're on a blast, like it's going to be harder, like no matter what. But if you take your time, it's going to be pretty easy, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if you go ranged, it'll be even easier. If you go melee, that's
true.
That's challenge right there.
Yeah, because I mean, usually we want to go so fast, and it's like we don't have any gear or basically naked. So it's like of course it's gonna be harder for like fast players.
Yeah, I think the main difficulty spike. There's a couple of difficulty spikes in the campaign in different chapters, but the big one is usually Lagon. No, like once new players get to Lagon, they usually get slapped, like completely annihilated.
And then,
I mean, it's definitely like the first big roadblock, I think. So, yeah. I also noticed that myself,
it's not
actually.
hard, but yeah, the first time you come across that, if you haven't read a guide on it, you're gonna learn a thing.
Yeah, you actually have to do mechanics in the Lagon fight. You can't get hit by the beam. So yeah, that's usually a roadblock.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also, like, it's just like, this multi-phase fight, and like, it's like the biggest. I mean, this used to be the final encounter, like previously, right? At some point when the campaign wasn't finished, and now like it continues after that. But yeah, somewhere around that point is also when you're kind of done with the campaign, like currently, right? And then you can move on to Monolith, I think, or how's it exactly? But
there's one more chapter after that.
One more chapter, okay. Yeah, all right.
And
it's like.
By the way, the boss of the next chapter. Personally, I think it's harder than Lagon, but who knows?
But you can skip that one. It's
you can
plus one to all attributes if you do it.
You can do it like later once you hit I don't know, level 70, 60.
So can you actually go monolith already and then come back to the finished campaign, or what?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I can actually say I haven't done campaign Lagon in like a year or something, because I always skip the campaign, So yeah.
Yeah, you can go.
That's usually what we do.
As soon as you reach the end of time, you shouldn't. It's going to be really hard, but you can. But most of us do it sometime well before the end. Just enough to get our idols passives.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I want to circle back to the Falconer again a little bit, because this was one thing that we actually like had to have it as a highlight for today. So I mean, everyone said already like they want to make their own builds. Or like at least like we have like some candidates already. Like Fluffin wants to do like the aerial assault, and I think Vina wants to do like the was it the ballista stuff?
Ballista. I
Yeah.
have like 2 different ballistas that I want to do, like the regular turret defense and also the explosive ballista.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up that video again, by the way, and let's just like show that again to viewers, because we didn't actually finish the preview here. So this is like the preview from Maxroll, and the Maxroll page, where like all of our guys here also showed some of the gameplay and more. Here's also Boardman, for example. So is there like any other build from Tarek and from Volka? Like, I'm not sure which ones you are kind of eyeing here that you would like to go with. Which ones were those?
Yeah, so my build was the Blast Rain bow, like proccing millions of detonating arrows. That was my build. I don't think I have any other builds at the moment that I wanna play on Falconer, at least not now. I think the other guys are doing like the other builds. Ballista seems really good though, so that's tempting.
Yeah. And since I'm mainly doing like leveling stuff, so I'm gonna also play like what Bina is gonna play. We're gonna play like the same build basically for a release. But yeah, for like leveling, a build that people haven't really talked about was the net proccing like punctures. And you have 2 choices. You can use either like a spear to increase like the bleed chance, because you have like nodes in the passive tree that increase bleed chance if you have a spear. Or you can also like do bow, and with bows you have like insane range with it, so it's like kind of cool. It clears everything, and also you drop like caltrops on the ground whenever you use net. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we see that right now with the traps here as well, and I noticed that basically most of these clips have like actually like bow in hand, but they don't actually ever fire a bow, and it's just like a stat stick.
Yeah, because it's using the throwing like base form of the trap, so you're basically just throwing the trap and the bow is just there.
But also like for the other skills, like the dive bomb, for example, like how does that as well? Like, does that scale with your weapon in any way, for example?
Yeah, basically like the highest, I think there are nodes depending on the highest type of damage. For example, the highest flat that you have between like throwing, melee, or bow attack is gonna take a part of it and give it to the Falcon. Like same for increased damage, for example. So you actually have to make a choice on which weapon you equip.
So you kind of have the possibility to scale it in whatever way you scaled your own stats. Like he's gonna take the highest out of all 3, right? Whether it's like bow, throwing, or melee, right?
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of like versatility in how you will actually gear.
But everyone ended up with a bow here, and there's a nose clip. So is that coincidence, or is that just like?
No. It's not because of coincidence. It's because of explosive trap.
Yeah, I'm the Giga Chat that goes melee.
Yeah.
Screw these bow guys. What are they doing?
Okay. Yeah, I guess melee rogue and Joy are here with shadow daggers as well, and all that stuff. That's fluffing.
I was literally playing a bow today on stream, so. But
yeah,
but that build's not a bow for me. That's
like Lizard is saying, technically melee.
Technically, yeah, Lizard says melee kick W.
It's throwing me into like enemies and stuff. It's melee.
Yeah, it has the tag, so technically it's
the
melee.
Falcon tosses me into the groups of enemies because I missed click and didn't click to the side. It's melee.
Okay. Someone in chat is asking, it's a bit unrelated to this right now, but it's an important question. Is there any change coming for corruption? Felt a little daunting to grind to high corruption and high rarity. I thought isn't that like getting sped up or something, and you can like more easily reach
they've talked about this, so we can talk about it. So corruption is going to be the difficulty is going to be more about scaling actual corruption. So as the corruption scales, the difficulty is going to be inside the corruption instead of the modifiers. Like right now, you can get some really terrible modifiers as you scale corruption that do insane amounts of damage or just make them incredibly tanky, and it can feel really bad. So they're basically swapping it, where most of the difficulty you're going to get scaling-wise is just by increasing your corruption, so the more health and the more damage that they get are going to be the bigger source of difficulty.
Yeah. It's like you're not going to have like insane difficulty spike, because you're like the mods are not going to have like a crazy amount of like increased damage or like whatever.
Yeah, and before people would like cherry pick mods, like take the easy mods and make it super easy. Basically, like corruption didn't even mean anything. So now it's gonna be nice because you can actually like let's say somebody's playing 500 corruption, you know how it's gonna feel. It's not like, oh, but did you take any mods? And so now it's gonna be nice. You can actually compare builds and stuff like that.
Okay, so it's like much more about like kind of the corruption level as like a baseline, and then like much less about the actual map mods that you're gonna add basically all the time. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good system. It's also like to immediately grasp the difficulty and the comparability. So
yeah, it takes out the cheese. So like it's easier to compare two builds against each other when everyone's basically dealing with the same difficulty at 500 corruption versus before where, like Volk was pointing out, you could just take the cheesy mods and you wouldn't really add any difficulty to it. It might slow you down a little bit or something like that, but you could still just blast through it. Now you can't really do that.
Yeah, I didn't dive too far into the corruption system because I think on like my first 2 characters from long ago it didn't exist yet, and I did it like recently. I played like a few weeks ago on Last Epoch, and I dived into corruption and empowered monoliths, and I didn't go to like thousands of corruption or something. But what would be like a good kind of target to have? Like if you have like some kind of like somewhat endgame geared character on a decent build, like what are you actually shooting for?
At least for my builds, I like to do like 500 corruption, because if you can do 500 with any mods, in the current system, it's gonna be a good build. And that's pretty much a baseline for me.
Yeah, I think that's pretty normal, pretty standard for at least us. This team, if you can do 500 corruption, it's a pretty solid build.
Okay. And is it like some certain breakpoints you're actually aiming for or something, or is it like it just scales up the rewards more and more, and the more the merrier?
Oh,
I mean,
there's gonna be a breakpoint for like the faction system, because you have like a currency tied to the faction system, and there's bound to be like a breakpoint where that currency doesn't matter because you're gonna generate like more currency that you're gonna spend it. So like I don't know what that breakpoint is at the moment, but
like right now corruption doesn't really mean anything, because like I mean, you get more rarity, but loot doesn't really scale with corruption. So hopefully that's better in 1.0.
I mean, would you actually like to see that there's like, okay, you have to hit that minimum level and then maybe unlock like new drops or whatever?
I mean, there is some drops. There's some drops at like 200 corruption. You can drop Omnis from the Shade of Orobus, for example, the boss. But that's it. There's nothing past 200 corruption. And of course, players like us can get that in like one day. So it would be nice if there was more like more kind of like breakpoints,
Yeah, there's like drops, and there's like you unlock your 5th choice of blessing whenever you kill the timeline boss. So it's easier, to farm your perfect blessings if you go higher in corruption, at least at that threshold that is 200 corruption, right? But yeah, like I think this is something that there's more than one item. I know there's others, but possibly in the future there might be some other breakpoints that they bring us, other thresholds for new items. And I think that could be pretty nice.
We do know that they have plans for like pinnacle bosses in the future, and the first 2 cycles after this are all endgame focused. I believe they're Monolith of Fate focused specifically. So there's a lot of room for them to play with this and make corruption maybe meaningful for pinnacle bosses, which also probably drop unique loot. So definitely hope to see a lot of that stuff in the future.
Yeah, I can definitely see that there's a lot of room to like expand upwards, I guess, with pinnacle bosses, like other incentives to go higher corruption, and then eventually also like just more tools to scale your character to those higher difficulties, right? And right now we're starting out, and just getting through the game, getting to the empowered monoliths, and then getting to corruption. That's already like pretty solid path, I guess, for most players to tread, and then maybe they come back in the next cycle and there's the next thing to do after that, right? So this is probably what a lot of people are waiting for.
Yeah. I mean, it would be cool if someday they also scale like, legendary potential with corruption, stuff like that. Basically, because that's going to be your main thing you like hunt into endgame, like legendary items. So it would be nice if you're kind of like incentivized to, push corruption and stuff like that.
I mean, don't you just have like more like unique drops basically as you
Yeah.
push the corruption anyway. So this is kind of like how you scale it up, I guess, as long as you can keep the pace.
Yeah. You do drop more uniques, so there's more chances to get LP basically. But
Yeah, but I guess it would be also cool if like just the LP chance itself would go up, so that you don't have to pick up like 200 different copies of the same item or something, right?
Yeah,
That would be
probably
very
like,
cool if that happens.
yeah, that is probably like somewhat annoying at some point. I imagine if it's just like, you know, oh, it's one again. Oh, it's one again. You know, like
yeah.
yeah.
It's going to be pretty interesting to see how the power of builds is going to scale, because with 1.0, we're getting Circle of Fortune and Merchant's Guild. So trade is being introduced for the first time. Like, you know, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. And there's going to be so many more players. So, you know, a Circle of Fortune as well with the prophecies and everything. We might see some, you know, some crazy stuff going on with loot, or, you know, crazy things going on with the trade system. You know, power builds might go up, you know. So
yeah, I guess
be,
I guess that the fact that you actually have like these items already available, and you know there's going to be an economy, and you know people that you know what they're doing, they can you know probably fish out insane items from the trade, for example, right? Yeah, that's going to be pretty wild to see. Actually, what is your guys' choice? Are you gonna do a Circle of Fortune or the Merchant's Guild?
I'm gonna go solo account found. So you know, I can only choose COF. Can't really trade there, but I'm really expecting like to get much more loot than before. Like at least +1 LP on every item, pretty much, because like the new bonuses are so big on the faction. So yeah.
I'm personally planning on going Merchant's Guild. I'm gonna be blasting and racing, so hopefully I can have a little advantage there and buy items from other people that actually find them for me, right? But yeah, I think Merchant's Guild is gonna be great if you are a blaster and you already know the ins and outs of the game and you're able to get a lot of gold, you'll be able to just buy whatever you want. You know, if you find your 2 LP item that you absolutely need these 2 stats on. And then you miss your slam at the Temporal Sanctum, then you can just go buy another one and then try it again. You know, you buy another one, another copy, another Exalted, and you just try again over and over. And you don't have to like find it after who knows how many hours. So yeah, I think it's going to be very fun and interesting to see how the first iteration of trade is going to like pan out, and yeah, if it's going to be good, right? But I do believe it's going to be pretty good.
And Lizard is on fire today in chat, by the way.
Oh,
what
man.
the hell?
He's after being a
Calm
hard
down,
right
dude.
now.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of true though.
Hey, I agree.
I went back and forth on which one I was gonna go with for a long time, and finally, the thing that broke it for me was this is gonna be the only time that this is the first time we've ever had an economy in Last Epoch, and I've got to check that out. So I'm gonna go MG first character and COF second character.
That's cool. And Tarek?
Yep. I mean, I'm gonna play with Bina, so MG all the way.
Are you grouping together or what? You're racing together? Oh, okay.
Hopefully it
You're gonna go
works,
it
you know?
alone.
I'm
Nobody
gonna-
can keep up with us.
Okay.
Carry him,
I'm, yeah, we're not on the same continent, but like hopefully, everything works.
Okay, well, good luck to you guys. Yeah, for me, I'm actually somewhat torn, but I think I'm gonna go Circle of Fortune, because I'm mostly an SDF guy, and especially like I guess early on, I mean, I'm not gonna be as fast as you guys, but I'm also gonna be trying to like kind of like keep racing and stuff, and I don't really expect that there's gonna be many items, like at least in the first few days, that will actually have any value in like the Merchant's Guild. So I'm gonna try the Circle of Fortune stuff. It looks kind of cool with the prophecies as well. So that might actually be kind of fun to like hunt something down and then you get it eventually. So we'll see how that will go.
Yeah, definitely. I think like the fact that you can actually play SSF in this game and it's gonna feel good. You know, it's not gonna be like PoE where you have to like play so much to actually get what you want. So I think COF is gonna be really nice to play.
Yeah, I think it's also gonna be interesting to see like the top 1% in COF and the top 1% in MG. See like if there is actually any difference in terms of gearing and stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I could imagine that's going to be like, you know, some tweaks over just the different seasons at some point, right? If it's like one of them like turns out to be like, you know, too OP or something, but yeah. I mean, you can definitely like micromanage it, especially with the prophecies, I guess. Can like, you know, shift the balance either towards or away from Circle of Fortune very easily. And that would allow them, you know, to become like a kind of equal in power, I guess. But yeah, I mean, of course, it's also like, you know, kind of like a philosophy thing, like okay, do you actually want to play trade or do you actually just want to play solo, right? So it's hard to really like, you know, put like the exact like dot on it or something like, okay, this is how it should be.
The nice thing is you can go back and forth between one and the other faction. So like it's not like you have to make your character on only one single league or cycle realm, you know. So if you're if you want to play COF for a couple weeks and then you want to play trade afterwards, like you'll be able to, right?
Yeah, that's also cool.
So it's not like a definitive lock. It's basically
Yeah,
you have to unequip your gear, or you have to like. There's gonna be something. You can't use the same gear in both factions, right? You can't trade and then,
and then get unnaked slowly. But yeah, you'd be able to make the switch.
Yeah.
By the way, no, keep going first. I have
I was just gonna say like. Especially because the end game progress is not shared between characters. It's not like in PoE where you can go like into T16 because you have another character that has T16 maps. Here you actually have like to fully progress again if you create a new character. So being able to switch on the same character factions is actually also has a lot of value just from that point alone.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true. The one point that I wanted to talk about is the cycles again. So as far as I understand, the cycles are gonna be also like on the like the cycle mechanics at least. Are they gonna be like across the entire game, right? So even on like non-season, basically, what is it called there?
Yeah, so I think they're calling it standard or something like that.
I think it's legacy.
Okay, yeah, legacy.
So the cycle mechanics, they're all gonna be across the entire game. Is it also gonna be an offline?
Yeah. Of course, not the trade one, but yeah, for the first cycle, and they haven't committed to beyond that, but the first cycle, everybody gets all of the same content, no matter how they play the game.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So in case for the viewers, if you didn't know, there's actually an offline mode, and you can play even the season mechanic there. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. Do we actually know anything about it? I can't remember any announcement or anything about the cycles. And since I haven't really played the CT, so I have no idea about it. But can we talk about it?
Yeah, I mean it's just the factions and it's the
this is the first cycle mechanic.
Yeah, so it's permanent content, and they said for the first few at least, it's all going to be permanent content because they feel like they need to still continue to develop their content to give it enough. Other games maybe should learn from that. So yeah, it's Woody's what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's going to be permanent stuff, and that's what's going to be here for this time. So you won't have like a special seasonal theme or anything that's going to go away. Not yet. It could be later, but for now at least, it's all permanent stuff.
Okay, that's cool stuff. Okay, I didn't realize that the faction system was actually supposed to be the cycle mechanics. So I thought there's something else also coming.
Not this time, but maybe in the future there's something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, especially I think the monoliths would be like a good candidate here for, just beefing up the end game, like putting stuff in there, making them exciting, making some, random stuff happen and all that. So
yeah, they did talk. They mentioned at one point that I think it was Judd that mentioned that he hopes that for 1.3 or something, like the next few cycles and patches will bring expansions to the monolith and like bring some more endgame content and like
the first two cycles are
the first two cycles
possibly
bring like the vision of what Last Epoch is their entire vision and like which is going to be like a great package for endgame at that point, right? Because we still have a lot right now. I feel like Last Epoch is probably the ARPG that releases their 1.0 version with the most endgame content out of all of the ARPGs, no? Because if we go back in the past, like at launch, PoE didn't have much, or at launch, all of these other ARPGs didn't have that much. But like in this time and age, I think EAG has made a great job at taking all of the feedback from all of the different games that were released and trying to make, maybe we don't have as much as PoE has, which had 10 years to have like multiple league mechanics added to the game, but I think right now it's pretty good. It's in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
for a fresh launch, I think they're definitely in a good spot. I agree with that. So, and it's also like, it's not just that they have some stuff, but it also seems like, very well, thought out and, somewhat fine-tuned and, all that, because of the early access for years at this point, right? And, it's just essentially like a soft launch, right? But for many people, it will be like the first time actually jumping in, and they're gonna see the game as it is at this point. And yeah, I think that's gonna go well. So
Yeah,
like,
for
if
sure.
you had
I mean,
if you had like one thing that you could like create as like an end game system or like a new cycle mechanic or something, or like what would be like the most favorite thing you would like to see maybe in the first cycles at some point? That would be an interesting thing.
I mean, I would definitely want an end game boss, like an actual pinnacle boss that's actually hard to, kill and stuff. And then just like more mechanics into Monolith, maybe like, I don't know, Breach, League or something, just like cool stuff like that. I guess start small, I guess,
Yeah, some sort of way to make us like more engaged inside the echoes instead of just rushing the objectives.
Yeah.
That would be pretty huge, I think.
Those were my two. They both took my two choices. It'd be boss pinnacle type boss content, and then more stuff in the echoes, like more events happening, like the mages that what are they called? Prison
Exiled
mages.
mages. Yeah.
Exiled, yeah. Stuff like that. I would love to see more of.
Yeah, kind of like random encounters that makes you that if you encounter something in an echo and then you like there's a message maybe that pops on the screen and tells you, okay, this echo is corrupted by this and that, and then that's a rare occurrence or something, and then you can actually like make a choice of either going to the corruption thing and then engaging in that content, and gives you a reward based on your choices of something else. Yeah, I mean, all random encounters that basically makes you excited and like surprises you when you're playing, instead of just being going from point A to point B and that's it.
Yeah, I think I heard once one of the devs say like his ideal would be basically replacing the modifiers in the Monolith with like League mechanics. So one would be like, I don't know, Breach, and something else is like Legion, and so it would be actually interesting instead of just like oh, this one has a bit more HP on the enemies.
Yeah. I also hope that they scale with the corruption, because we have like an infinite scaling system. So it would be pretty boring if they didn't scale.
I mean, Monolith is effectively the one thing you do in late game anyway. So basically, any kind of like, okay, that you could have like these dungeons, and you could have like like a separate like boss somewhere, right? That has like a fixed difficulty or whatever, or maybe the multiple difficulty settings, like the dungeons, for example. But yeah, ultimately, I guess pretty much everything they put in the game will scale through monoliths anyway, and it's like a very easy way to kind of like streamline the difficulty and make sure that it's like properly scaled to a certain level. So I think it just makes the most sense to put most stuff into monoliths and also make it scale through monoliths, including bosses potentially.
Yeah, we could talk about dungeons though too, actually. So dungeons are something that a lot of long-term players find kind of annoying because of the way they're set up. But interestingly, Mike in Ask the Devs, he's one of the devs that handles the Ask the Devs. He's amazing. He has so much information. But he was talking about how that's one of the things that they'd like to touch up at some point, because they went with like a system that was supposed to be like a pseudo randomized, where it kind of blocks your path constantly, and they hoped it would be a good randomization system. It didn't work out. So that would be a nice thing to eventually see down the road, them actually get around to making the dungeons feel a lot better, and then maybe once they feel better, adding some more dungeons, because the dungeon bosses and the reward mechanics in those are generally been very, very well received.
I think just like layout changes could probably go a long way already. Like, like remove these random blocks and just make it feel a bit more naturally like randomized maybe. Could already, like, I noticed the same thing as well. I didn't run many dungeons, but I tried them all like a few times. I tried to do like the tier 4 and defeat them on the hardest difficulty and stuff, and failed miserably. But it was fun trying them, a little bit, but I was also like, yeah, I was like trying to find my way around on like this one objective or something and trying to get something, and then I just gave up and moved on to the next. Like it was kind of annoying.
Yeah,
There's actually an interesting thing in chat right now from Berg from EHT. What about something like Echo Time Trials? You race against another player who is also in the same Echo.
PvP, let's go.
Just made this up. Yeah.
Blade Dancer pure meta. Everyone's all supposed to play the fastest builds constantly.
Hey, that's my meta. Easy.
True. Derek is so excited about that one.
Hey.
Actually.
Finally.
Yeah, it would be funny. I mean, like one thing I noticed is that you generally don't want to spend much time in each echo, right? You always just try to rush to the next and increase the web size. And I guess it would be nice if there was like more. Yeah, I think someone mentioned that, right? More stuff to do in the echoes where it's like like they have like this bonus corruption that you get or something, or bonus stability, but it's like ultimately kind of like irrelevant and like not really the way.
There is incentive to kill monsters in the Echo because the non-guaranteed reward, the chest that is right beside it to the right, actually scales with the amount of monsters that you kill inside of the Echo and how many monsters remain afterwards. So
oh really?
There's
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, so there's the stability, the bonus stability, but also you get more loot from that chest. And in very high corruption, that chest drops items like crazy. It's like it can't drop items for like 15 seconds straight, pretty much.
Yeah, but it's pretty bad until very high corruption, and even when it's good, like you're not incentivized to like go way off your path, right? You want to kill stuff on the way, efficiently build stability until you get to the objective, kill the objective, and then kind of move on. And what people are generally talking about is make me want to go, like I'm supposed to go north of the objective. Well, what's west? What's east? What's over there? Is there something cool, some icon on the map that I should go check out? Which is like what the mages do. Like you see, like, oh, if it's important for you, you're gonna go get it. As a trader, you're almost always gonna go get it because there's some really valuable fixes there that might drop. More stuff like that is what people really want.
Yeah, and also like having something that you need to think about while you're playing. So it's not just like, okay, I'm gonna like autopilot into the end of the echo and that's it and go again. I want something that I have to like actually actively think about when I play the monolith, So hopefully they can add something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's definitely just interesting to see, like, now that 1.0 coming and then, the first cycle's evolving and, I'm sure that the devs have like many things, like ideas and probably some things in the works already, like at least concept-wise, that they're probably gonna implement soon and we're gonna hear about soon. So especially at the start of a game, the start of its lifetime, the first patches, that's always like the big hype moments, I guess. And yeah,
it's time to get into it and grow with the game. Like how many times do you have like the opportunity to actually start playing an ARPG when it releases? I mean, technically,
not very often. Yeah. That is
the
true.
1.0 release, it's time. Now is the time to get into Last Epoch and actually grow with the game. Just like back in the days, if you try to get into PoE nowadays after 10 years of content, it's much harder than it was at 1.0, right? So yeah, I feel like it's a good opportunity if you're an ARPG enjoyer and you want to actually, get into it. You will actually, grow with the game. It's gonna be a fun ride.
Lizard says fresh 10k hour start.
Yeah, I mean, technically, it's been in early access, but it's the 1.0 launch. So,
how many hours do you guys have, by the way? That's like a little.
I mean, it's hard to tell because back then it was not on Steam, right? So there was the standalone client, so it's kind of just an approximation, but like multiple thousands for sure.
Yeah, I might have the lowest amount actually. I have like 3,000 only. Only 3,000 hours.
I think you have more. You have more than me, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I started in 2021, so I don't know.
Yes, I also started in 2021, I believe. I have like 2.5k.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're kind of the same amount then. Okay.
I'm something over 5,000. I don't know how because I'm the oldest person here in multiple ways, including playing this game for the longest. So I was playing the game before it was even on Steam, and there was no way to track those hours. So I don't know how many I had from that.
It's a grandpa fluffing here.
Oh, Gramps.
Man. Yeah, but I guess you have also played the most builds then, I suppose. How many builds do you have played?
Oh, a number of builds don't even exist anymore that I played in the past. I remember there was one that used Fire Shield. It's not even a skill anymore. It was Righteous Fire. It doesn't exist. You can't play it now.
Oh man, do you have like some old video about it?
I do. Yeah, I have all the footage. It's great.
It's actually crazy if you go back and watch the old LE videos. It's like looks so bad compared to now. So there's
Yeah.
definitely a lot
the
of
game-
progress.
The game has come a long way for sure, for the better.
Yeah, a lot of people in chat also seem to have played like a bunch of these like old school builds or something. I don't really know much about them, so
Dude,
it's
old
kind of funny.
Earthquake Weber was crazy. It was absolutely crazy.
It was ridiculous looking though. Their old werebear was so silly looking. I wish we had a picture of that. The difference is tremendous. It looked more like a dog.
Someone must
than
have a
bear.
screenshot somewhere, I guess.
Someone's
If
got
you have it, then
one.
link it in the chat, guys.
Uh,
Just play the Kickstarter video and you see XDD.
Oh, there you go.
Well, if someone gives me a link, I'll pull it up. Let's go. What are like maybe some like completely unexplored archetypes that
here,
could make it into a game in terms of builds?
I have one for you, Woody. It's a video.
You have right here in chat. Oh, whoops. Wait, are you linking it here or
Okay,
in Twitch?
I'll put it in chat.
Okay, Bina. Okay, let's pull it up from Bina. What is
That's
that?
the old Earthquake Werebear.
The Earthquake Weber belt. 0.82.
It was just like movement ability, screen wide AoE, basically.
Yeah, that's before
Which is
they
insanely
nerfed
busted.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the old Weber form?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It looks very
Seeing
humanoid,
it
actually.
now,
like,
like holy shit. It looks so bad.
the charge, man. This is not the current version of the game, right? This is like 3 years old or something, guys. It looks
Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Come a long way. Now
Yeah.
it's way better.
Yeah.
Okay, and someone else also linked some other stuff. Who was that here? Bass linked something?
If you got one of it even older when all the other graphics were bad too, because that one started to get the upgrades.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's a concept art and
Okay.
stuff, okay. This is the current form, right?
This is current form, yeah.
Yeah, that looks significantly better.
Yeah, slightly better.
Mm-hmm. It's actually a machine, man, this thing. Yeah, I haven't played the Druid yet, so I'm quite excited for that as well at some point. Looks awesome, though. And MidHelp linked something, what is that?
That's a good one.
Oh, something we haven't talked
Yeah.
about. But the
Live
graphical
on
improvement-
Kickstarter, April 17th, 5 years ago. Let's go.
This is what I started with. It looked like this.
Wow.
Actually, this is slightly worse than even what I started with, to be honest with you. This is like, yeah, like pre-Kickstarter. There's Judd.
Judd, game director. He looks so young.
He does.
So
He's gotten
weird
more
seeing
swole
it that
since then.
young.
Can we see more of the... here we go. This is still like the bridge and the stuff from the start of the campaign, right? Actually, yeah.
The old campaign, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, they changed it, yeah. But I remember playing this part, but it looked different already when I played it, I think, and I just recognized this. If you want to see real OG LE, here comes another one. What is that? Beastmaster demo playthrough 2017, man. Holy,
What?
what is this?
Beastmaster demo. Okay.
This is the same game, believe it or not.
Yeah, look at that, man.
Actually, insane game.
Oh, the,
And now-
the old
wait.
minimap. Oh.
No, there'd be a good April
Oh my
Fool's
God.
joke if EHG just like, hey guys, we're overhauling the entire graphics, and they just showed this video.
That's amazing. And now compare this to like, what we have here. So let's close this.
Yeah, and even in the 1.0 version that's gonna come out, there's some massive graphical improvements.
Yeah.
Like
So
the
there's not even this
shaders
footage here, or
and-
what? This is not
This is actually 1.0 footage. Yeah, that we pull this off the
Yeah.
CPU.
yeah, I
They
mean,
put like a I don't know how do you say that, like some sort of like shader or
Yeah, like ambient occlusion maybe, or
yeah.
like lighting and stuff. It's like way better basically.
Lighting, there's weather effects now. You see the fog that's in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they showed it off somewhere in like a forum post or something. I remember seeing something like that.
Yeah, and when you actually play it yourself, right? It just there's a massive difference between 1.0 and what we're playing right now.
What
It
is this
weird
message
going
here,
back
by the
and forth.
way? You have been ambushed. What is that? On the left.
Oh yeah, that's one of the monolith objectives is an ambush.
Ah,
you can
okay, no
attack where
mind.
you are.
Okay. I just
Sometimes it's sneaky. They pretend it's something else, and you're like, I'm killing everything, and I can't find this thing. I need to be an ambush. Oh, that's why. Okay.
yeah, okay. I remember now. I was just never way off this message there, and I just saw it. I was like, first time I see that.
Yeah, the objective comes to you.
Lizard is like viciously defending the old school graphics here. It had a charm. Yeah.
Lizard doesn't respond well to
I don't know about
change.
that.
No, he
doesn't like
has a
change.
point for visibility, I think.
True though. That's true.
Because as the graphics improve, you have like less contrast between like the terrain and the monsters. So some of the monsters they pop out like less than before.
Yeah, that is definitely true. It's like a general problem, I guess,
like-
that can arise easily. I noticed
Yep.
that in many games where it's like, okay, if you tune down the graphics, it's just like very easy to read everything, right? Because there's like no grass and there's no shadows and like effects going on and whatever, right?
We just need a
Exactly.
toggle back to the old graphics. Kind of like the D2R, where you can do the old one and the new one. We need the same thing.
Yeah, the contrast is not good enough, I guess, for something like that. But man, but it would be funny. Like maybe in another few years when there's like graphics 3.0 or something, and then you can do like the toggle. But yeah, I mean, like it's definitely cool to see. Like I mean, this is probably still like basically the same base engine, right, and everything, right? I don't think they've redone the entire like game at some point. So like
Yeah,
actually
so
just seeing the
Unity.
improvements and the visual like progress, that's pretty amazing though.
Yeah, and they, for example, like they have a model for every weapon in the game. Like every unique weapon has a model. So I think that's like insanely cool to have that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, but you can't transmog them, right? Actually,
No.
how's that gonna go?
I mean, you can buy MTX, you know.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean MTX. Okay, I mean
Yeah.
they're gonna be. Oh look, it's our team. The MTXs, but are they actually in the game already? Are the MTXs already in the game? I'm not even sure.
There are. Yeah.
They are. Okay. So you can
Very
use that
few,
as
but there are. Yeah.
yeah, you can use those transmogs. Okay, I guess there's gonna be some launch like hype stuff, I guess, right? That we're gonna get just for like playing the game, and then there's
Yeah.
probably gonna be like some new stuff.
Yeah, there's some pre-order stuff right now that you can get, and it gets you a bunch of 2 body armor sets and pads and stuff like that. But I'm sure they're gonna add more to it 1.0.
Yeah, I know there's like a lot of like MTX enjoyers out there, so yeah, it's like one
Yeah,
good
they
way
show
of
up
funding it. So
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for like skill MTX actually.
Yep,
Changing the
those
way
are-
a skill looks.
Yeah.
Those are gonna
I
happen.
mean, we might need soon, like with all these new beautiful effects, we might need like an MTX that disables the effects, you know, just to make it like actually clear, you know. Who
Yeah.
knows?
yeah, but I felt like I don't know, LE combat is like kind of slow paced and also not like it doesn't have like these like insane density of like like Path of Exile, like juiced up maps or something. Like I feel like the visual clarity is not like the biggest concern at least. I mean, you've played the game more, maybe it's like maybe there are certain builds where this really stands out. But at least like for me, it didn't feel like a problem when I played. So maybe I was just like pleb tier and not going fast enough
Yeah,
or something.
I mean, yeah, it's only really a problem if you do like high arena or something like really pushing where you die in like one hit. So of course that's then it's more of a problem. But yeah, for like normal gameplay, who cares? Rather make it look good, I guess.
I think it's still pretty like I can tell when all the telegraphs are going off still. Maybe I'm not playing the Blast Rain build and that's my problem. Then I couldn't see anything, but the builds I typically play, I can usually see what's going on.
Yeah, Fluffiness probably memorized them all. He's like seeing them in his sleep and dodging. So it's
Blindfolded, I can still see it.
Of course.
yeah, someone is saying LE slow thinking. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can go pretty fast. You also saw us like in this video, right? Like these builds that you made there with the Falconer, like they seem pretty zoomy for sure. But I think that probably not gonna be like the early game, like the early experience for people that just start out the game and like actually like, you know, even if you get the monoliths and stuff, yeah, you really have to like try, I guess, to like get that all that speed, I guess, to actually like, you know, put it all together and actually blast through the maps. I feel like
Yeah.
you can definitely go way faster in other games. So that's like my impression.
Yeah. Like if you compare it to PoE, sure, but like if you compare it to D4, no.
Yeah, it seems like okay,
Ellie's
somewhere
faster.
on the level of D4, I guess. If you go like Zoomy and D4, it's like somewhere on that level as well, it seems. And I think it's a good difficulty.
Go in
But
30 seconds sometimes in fast builds. With dungeons, what, 4 or 5 minutes?
yeah, okay, it's just I guess it's just that the monoliths in general have like way shorter objectives sometimes, right? It's just like sometimes you walk to like the one guy and it's already like shown on the map and you just rush there and that's it, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah, if you compare runtime, of course, it's like much shorter. But I mean, the actual like combat, like the gameplay, right? That sort of went with Zoomy. Like,
if you're playing what's your favorite rogue build there? If you're playing that, then it's probably about the same. Maybe it's Shadow Daggers. I feel like generally though, Ellie's probably a little bit faster at the end game because you build a lot more move speed.
Yeah,
okay.
because also the legendaries, like you can have like a crazy movement speed unique that then you build upon like useful actual affixes for your build. So you can, like, if you really want to, you can go like 200%, even like 300% movement speed on some builds.
Can you actually have like a unique boots that has legendary potential and then put movement speed on it again? Like, if can you have double movement speed? Okay, then I guess there's like one way to go really Zoomy or something. Yeah.
You can have like 70% movement speed on just a pair of boots, basically.
You
Just by one
rings,
item.
you can put it all over the place. Get your haste, it's 30% movement speed, get haste effect on it too. Yeah, it gets crazy.
And then one of my favorite ones, the Shattered Lance Sword, can get 20% more movement speed. So if you're stacking movement speed, then you can multiply it with a more multiplier. So yeah, it can get pretty crazy.
What is like the fastest? I guess Rogue is probably like the overall fastest class. I guess that at least naturally that probably has like a lot of synergies.
Yeah.
So we probably saw like relatively fast build here already, right? In the preview that we just watched earlier with the Falconer. If you look at this, yeah.
Yeah. Right now, Blade Dancer Rogue is considered to be the fastest, but the Falconer may be pushing that.
Yeah, like I was watching this and I was like, they're actually going fast. Yeah, that's just like at least some of those builds, maybe not the trap stuff, but with like the aerial assault, I think somewhere this was like what Fluffin was doing here, I think.
Yeah, and that's me playing that slow to show off. So I won't be going that
like
slow.
The jump itself is like already crazy, right? And then
I can go full screen away, and you can do it in on average about a second cooldown.
Yeah, it's definitely a nerf candidate here already.
It's not even considered by us, at least, to be the most powerful. It might be like the third or fourth most powerful Falconer build when you talk about like high corruption pushing, but it's probably the fastest.
Yeah, the main thing on Rogue that feels really good is you unlock Shift very early, and there's a node really close to the center that gives you 50% movement speed every time you shift for a short, like a burst of speed, basically. So it makes the Rogue really, really feel swift and agile.
Yeah, and then you can even build cooldown to make it, so you can shift more, so more uptime on the buff, and just being faster, basically.
That build is crazy. Like you can, like, on top of that, you can even like automate the umbral blades that leaves behind whenever you shift. So basically, you only shift and it kills everything behind you. That's the build.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have enough cooldown reduction, I guess you can do something like that. Are there actually like some super crazy, like, cooldown reduction effects, resource cost reduction effects, etc., that they can actually stack? I've not really noticed them too much, but yeah, if you can like shift every half second or every second or so.
Yeah, Falcon's got some more interesting ones. Before that, we could build CDR from gear and stuff. But for example, the aerial assault one we're talking about has a node in it where you can get 10% cooldown reduction every time your Falcon hits, and you can start to kind of build up the speed of the hit with a couple of different things, and all of a sudden that's how you get to like about 1 second cooldown, because it's just going to hit a bunch of stuff in density, and all of a sudden like, you're right back and you're doing it again.
Yeah, sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, and you actually have the same thing for the Falcon as well. So you have the more you hit, the more you reduce the cooldown of your Falcon, and then if your Falcon hits, you reduce cooldown of something else, and it's kind of
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I'm
And
pretty
you can even make the Falcon abilities instant cast. So it's like actually just running and you know, you don't need to stop to cast the abilities. So pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think personally I would actually like to try something like where I'm like a ranger and I have like my falcon actually kind of like diving in front of me and I'm just shooting with my bow or something. Is that like a viable option?
Well, yeah.
Not really because not really because your
I mean-
falcon does not really grab. No, he's an invulnerable minion, so he doesn't grab aggro as much as.
Yeah, okay, it's
other
not so much
minions
about the
can.
aggro, but it's more like, I wanna shoot bow and I don't wanna like throw the explosive trap or something, or like overly rely on just a falcon diving in, for example.
I
Well,
think
let's
that's pretty
say-
much what Boardman was doing with his build. Like
Yeah,
he was using the
exactly.
bow explosive trap to buff the Falcon with the insane node that's uncapped. And I don't know if it's on the gameplay here, but at least he has a build like that in mind that he's doing.
I
So
think
you
it
can
does show it
basically
here. Yeah, in fact,
yeah.
at the end, he because you had one showcase and he had the other one at the end of this video, and his was exactly that. So
Yeah.
towards the end, towards the latter part of that.
Even though that build, like most of the damage is the Falcon, not your attack, but you're still gonna be like a bow playstyle.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but it's not like where you actually deal like a significant damage. It's mostly just like buffing your falcon.
Yeah, I mean it's mostly gonna be the Falcon doing the stuff, and you buff it. Actually, you're the minion of the Falcon, kind of.
True.
It's
True.
just escorting the falcon to the objective.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of sad. I might like theory craft around a little bit and see if like I can make something like that work or so. But let's see.
Mhm.
I haven't really decided on like if I'm gonna go Falconer or not. If you guys couldn't choose Falconer, since everyone wants to go Falconer apparently, like what else would you play as a starter?
I mean, it would be this
Primalist.
build, the like you saw.
Yeah,
from the
outside
last
of like Falconer or like the marksman Falconer
Mm.
combo. Let's
My
say.
personal favorite is Thorn Totem Shaman. I think everyone knows that I love Thorn Totem Shaman, but like Thorn Totem is like the ultimate starter build that you can level any Primalist with. So on that class, it's like the premier way of leveling, and it actually scales very well to the end game. And you can actually, it's a minion build, of course, but it's like a totem build, and they are kind of like ballistas, but just disguised as totems. So they shoot single thorns that pierce, and they grab aggro, they heal you. It's a one button build kind of thing, but it feels very very good for league starting and doing all the content in the game while not having to rely too much on gear or on like there's no real gear pressure. There's basically it's the best starter build. Let's be real.
Tarek disagrees.
Eric disagrees on Primalist.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I agree. I agree.
That
Hey,
class no one else
I
cares
agree
about.
that
You
Shadow
can, like,
Daggers
you can-
is a good rogue starter build, probably the best.
Yeah, for me, it's Shadow Daggers all the way. If I wasn't playing Shadow Daggers Falconer, I'd be playing Shadow Daggers Blade Dancer. I just
Yep.
love the playstyle.
Yeah, I mean there is also Warlock. So, but of course we don't know full Warlock builds yet. But there might be something pretty crazy on that one also. But if not Warlock or not Falconer, I would go for my Nova Hammered in. It's like a really nice, just also it's also like full screen AOE clear, just like the last train. You basically just like throw hammers in a Nova around you, and pretty easy gameplay. Just hold
Yeah,
down
that's a really good one.
mouse click.
Mhm.
yeah, you're the hammer guy.
Yeah, I'm the hammer guy. Yeah, but soon I might be something else because the new stuff is so strong.
Yeah.
It's also funny to see like the reactions in chat. Like some people are also saying like, okay, Fawn Totem is like Resident Sleeper, and then another Primalist enjoyer Fawn Totem starting it is like Giga Chat. It's kind of funny.
There's more than one Primalist enjoyer. Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
apparently, yeah.
Apparently.
Res Stacker Warlock. Let's go. MM enjoyer. What about Lizard? What is he gonna start? And Tarek, what are you gonna do? I think you didn't. Or like, what
mean-
would be another option besides? Falconer.
I usually play like Shadow Dagger because that's like the build I like to play like for speedrunning and stuff. But I like for those like types of scenario like Psycho Start, League Start, I like to like play something completely different that I never played before. So like Warlock or like I don't know, some sort of skill that I never played.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of same for me because I played like at least 1,000 hours of Hammered In, so you know it's gonna be pretty nice to play something else also.
No cap,
So,
he
yeah.
actually did play like 1,000
Yeah,
hours.
actually, not even joking. So
He's got how many builds do we have on Maxwell that are you're now totally in control that are actually hammered in builds?
4, I think. Yeah.
Before and
Only 4.
we actually archived 2, so we had 6, and 2 of them were mine and 4 of them were yours, right? And I just gave over
Yeah.
the rest. I'm like, dude, you know hammers better than anybody. You just take these.
Yeah.
Why did you have so many like hammer? Like were they all different builds? But
They
all
are
different builds.
different. Yeah, they are different, but you know it's still using the hammer throw skill, but it is different. Like sometimes you cast smite with it. Sometimes you're actually void knight and you cast basically different color of smite. Sometimes you do nova hammered in, which is like a crit physical hit based build, or you can do
We probably
bleed hammered in also.
We probably went a little crazy on hammer throw, you know, but they're all really good builds, so it was hard
Yeah.
not to.
And I mean, it basically is the best kind of like archetype on Sentinel. So yeah.
Shadow Daggers, you have a lot of builds actually, I just realized. Holy. That's a lot of builds you already made here in the past.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that many.
I think 3 of us. Volk, are you at 10 plus yet? If you're not, you're close. 2 of us are over 10 builds.
Yeah, I think I'm like 9 now. Yeah.
And Lizard's got, I don't know how many, 700 build guides right now.
True.
Yeah, these guides look really nice. Yeah, I haven't really been like looking through the build guides myself because I looked through some of the resource posts because it was nice to read up on some of the mechanics and stuff. That was really cool. But when I started the game, I just like started blasting basically and like to see what I can do. But yeah.
Yeah, I think this game is also super friendly to that. You don't need to use a build guide to have a lot of fun and make a pretty good build.
That's not the right thing to say when you're working for Maxroll, but
True.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, that's what I love though. This game, if you want to follow a build guide, we've got you covered, and it's a great game for that. And if you don't want to follow a build guide, you can do that too. And both playstyles are perfectly great to do. And you still need to follow. You still need to follow our resource guides and stuff to learn about the game. So you still want to be on Maxroll, right? And also the planner. So
True.
Fired. Whoops.
Hey,
Yeah. That's like
just like the. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that's like, you know, -1, you know, like more work to do for the other people, and I guess you guys are already like also like under pressure a bit with like updating everything. So I'm not sure if you really want to get rid of McFluffin right now.
Yeah.
I have 37 just resource posts alone that I have to update by 1.0. It doesn't include my build guides. You guys can do it if you want to.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you know, the devs are like, you know, under pressure, and like, you know, you guys are also gonna be under pressure trying to keep up with like whatever the devs are throwing at us at some point. So
Yeah. Lizard molding with 25 build guides.
yeah, I mean, it seems like you guys got a lot of stuff to do. So good luck. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I mean, it seems like, you know, you have the tools though, right? I mean, it seems like fairly manageable per guide. Like how, yeah. So if you know the builds
now, so we're pretty efficient, but it makes a lot of work. But we knew it was gonna be. It's a 1.0 launch. You want to be as prepared as possible, get everything as perfect as you can get it. So it's expected.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if there's really that many builds to choose from, I mean, there's many options in the game, so this is like definitely not you know, exhaustive of the entire list of builds that are possible, right? And even so, it looks like
may
crazy.
never be. Like,
Yeah,
the game has got so many like things you could do, weird, you know, meme things you could do. Yeah, we could probably never cover everything.
Yeah, if we did every build, we would be only writing stuff. Like we wouldn't even be playing the game at that point. There's too many builds.
Yeah.
And how would you keep up with all the, you know, every patch? Like try to keep up with everyone and make sure that they're all up to date. We'd need a team like 5 times the size.
well, maybe gonna find some blasters that are gonna stick around and, you know, expand the team as well.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the D4 team. You know, this kind of keeps growing. If Last Epoch keeps growing, and you know the player base is there, and you know like the hunger for all these build guides, I mean, I can definitely see that happening.
I'm quite excited to see with the influx of players that we're gonna have with 1.0, like what are the new builds that are going to emerge, and the new interactions we might find. Maybe like new perspective on things brings another well, it brings another perspective. So like you bring a new pair of eyes onto something that we think is like, most of it is kind of like, it's not completely solved, but we know kind of like, okay, the health meta is this, the ward meta is this. Maybe new pair of eyes might bring some other perspective that gives you new ideas and new builds that show up. So that's one part I'm pretty excited for, the huge influx of player that we're expecting to get for 1.0. And we actually learned today that they actually sold over 1 million copies, right? So pretty impressive.
They're gonna sell a lot more real soon.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's probably gonna go up quite a bit, and we're gonna get like the next milestone at some point. So let's see. I think that 21st February will be a very, very exciting day for all of us here. And I mean, okay, I'm not on the LE team. I'm just like chilling with you guys right now, but
we consider you a part of the team, so you're honorary.
Yeah, I guess the WDC is always present, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
I heard about it. So but anyway, yeah, I mean, it's just gonna be cool either way. Like even for me as like someone who's like not actively like building the backstory side right now for LE, I'm like doing the D4 stuff, but it's gonna be fun to see like how it's gonna evolve, and it's just playing the game. So I'm excited for that. Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, I've been sitting here for a while. Do you have any other topics that you want to go through? If you guys have anything else that you have, or maybe chat that has questions, maybe we can like do some Q&A as well. Also, there's a cat.
No.
So
he's hungry.
Meow. Yes. Excited to watch. Yeah, I mean, like you also need to watch all of these guys, not just me here. Like these are the pros. Like I'm just like chilling. I'm trying to live on hardcore. So that's the plan. If I can make it to like close to 100 even on hardcore, I mean, I'll be very happy. Like that would be cool. I'm gonna try to like super rush it, because I just don't have the experience with like all the little details in the game. So we'll see what I can
You'll
do.
do it. I believe you.
Question about how many hours to 100. So I actually timed myself. I got to like on Dispatch on Thorn Totem while not really while still going fast, but like not like going as fast as I would in an actual race. In 24 hours I got to like 99 and 1/3. So I expect it to be under 24 hours, but like maybe between 20 and 24 hours to get to 100. Depending on how they change the corruption as well, right? Because like they are reworking that system. So we don't know how much experience gain we're gonna get from the corruption itself.
We kind of know they teased us in the article. Like I can give it in this one, I put it in the chat. They actually tell us like the new values for corruption.
Well, I still expect it to be under 24 hours for sure, but like close to 24.
Yeah,
Okay.
you could even play any of the new builds, and it's gonna be maybe even faster. Who knows?
Yeah, you're gonna do it in one session, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Are you gonna go for
Not
one
the
session?
average player.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about Bina and Tarek or something. So of course, not the average player.
We could do it in one session, technically.
Yeah, Blasters would do it in one session for sure.
Yeah, I
think
mean,
Bina will do
like,
it in one session.
I don't know. Have you guys pulled like 24-hour streams already and stuff, or like for me, it's like some like very like kind of typical like season start thing. It's just like, okay, another season start, another 30-hour. That's how I roll. So I'm like, okay, let's do it in one go.
Actually, that's a question I have for you. Is that you 30 hours? Is that because like at 24, it's like, okay, I've just reset to the point where I'm now sleeping at my normal stream schedule. So is that how you combat it? You just go 30?
Yeah, basically, okay. For example, right now, like for me, Diablo 4 launches are at 8 p.m. So this is like the worst time imaginable to start. I mean, okay, it's good, if you have a typical workday and you want to blast a few hours and go to bed. But in my case, I want to blast, right? So I would have to get up, like 5 p.m. or something. I start my stream, and well, I go 30 hours, and then it's like the next day, evening, and perfect. I can sleep, and I wake up in the morning. I have a nice schedule. So this is exactly what I do, and so this is why I do it as well. So and it kind of works out pretty well. So yeah.
Yeah, I gotta
think-
figure out
yeah.
if I want to torture myself enough to do a 30-hour
Yeah.
stream. It's just a very
Yeah,
long time.
I mean, it's
I don't
obviously
think
very
we're-
taxing. I understand not everyone can or wants to do that. You know, it's just like I figured, you know, if you're talking about like the world first race here, Tarek and Bina, like, you know, trying to be the first, and if it's like actually feasible in like something like 20-ish hours, it would be an opportunity at least. So
Thing is, like Bina, I think it's like the morning, right? That it the patch comes out, right?
For me, it's midday basically. I think it's gonna be
Midday?
12 p.m. or 1 o'clock.
Yeah. For me, it's
I
gonna
guess-
be like 6 p.m.
I guess that's another consideration if you're playing on hardcore, right? You know, you guys not going softcore, right? But if you're playing on hardcore, I guess there's a consideration that, you know, might just, you know, fail at some point and, you know, die or something. So gotta be aware of
I
that.
definitely learned that the hard way in the Diablo 4 season 1. I was actually racing hardcore, solo hardcore for level 100. And I was actually first at some point at level 78 or 80 something, and I died because, you know, like to like failed the mechanic, got stunned, got CC'd, and you know, with the amount of hours you have in, you know, you're not 100%, and you know, sometimes that happens, and it's
Yeah, season 1 was still like
it's
somewhat slow leveling. It was like 2 sessions, I think, for me as well. And then,
yeah.
So,
Two
yeah,
sessions
if you
for
go
you,
too
Rax
far.
had his hand, something happened to his hand or something. He couldn't play anymore.
Mhm.
But you know, 20 to 24 hours is doable in one session, but it's quite still a marathon. You know, it's not a sprint; it's a marathon. So especially
Yeah.
if you go hardcore, you know, being a bit more careful might be the play.
Yeah, I think on hardcore, like if you can push it to like around that time on softcore with like, you know, the absolute blasters in the game, then yeah, I guess, you know, going like, you know, at least an extra session on hardcore would probably be the way here, right? And then, you know, maybe do like, you know, like, I don't know, it's like a 16-hour and then another 15-hour or something, and then he probably got it or whatever, right? So hardcore is just slower, I guess. So, but either way. Do you have anything else on chat? I mean, you can also just pick up questions if you see something like Bina just did. Yeah, Lizard is asking. I'm planning to go hardcore. Yes, Lizard. So there's like I think Lizard also want to go hardcore, right? And I guess Volka, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be a few guys. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, maybe at some point if we actually live, you know, and I mean, we've kind of like gotten a build together or something.
I mean,
Might be
there's
fun to
kind of
also-
no reason not to go hardcore, you know, because you can just continue playing in softcore, but that's kind of, I don't know, you know, you have hardcore in your title and then you die and you keep playing in softcore. That's kind of, I feel it's worse than just starting softcore and, you know, being in softcore.
Yeah,
Guys
at
are
least
starting to convince
at
me
least
to
if you
go
play
hardcore
softcore
here.
from the start, you don't have to admit your failure, right?
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
the
exactly.
advantage.
I already accept my failures, so I can just do
Yeah.
hardcore and just like it's inevitable. Okay, it's great content when I do something really stupid and die like then 5 minutes in.
Yeah, but the worst thing
Like,
was when you die and you have to
softcore-
wait in the queue for like 1 hour, you know, because
Oh, does
you
it
died.
does it push you out of the queue if you do that?
I mean,
Yeah, we
most
don't know
likely.
about that. Like that's the question.
Yeah, that might be a reason not to do do hardcore.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would expect that there's actually like separate server or like at least a separate queue or something for hardcore. At least I noticed at least from like D3, it was most noticed, but also in D4, like there are separate servers for hardcore, and I usually have way fewer server issues than typical, like, you know, my chat or something coming to me and they're like experiencing lots of trouble because I play on hardcore and there's fewer people. So I'm not sure how LE handles this, but it might actually be fine for hardcore players. Copium. So
yeah, huge copium.
we'll see. Yeah, but I mean, it might just be that login servers might go down and then no one can log in or whatever, right? So that could be it, but who knows? But yeah, let's just say that
No, everyone goes hardcore.
yes.
Yeah.
Now everyone goes hardcore, Woody.
Yeah, those servers are terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a question asking about how when you remove an item that has plus levels to it, how it works on the skill. It actually it's built in a certain order of priority where it's going to remove like the least valuable to like what EHG decided. So it just removes one skill, and when you put it back, you have another skill to put into this.
Yeah,
into the skill tree.
I actually noticed that as well. I actually tried this, and I was very confused about what the game thought I wanted to remove. And I was like, what? Why this?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I think I was playing Shadow Cascade, and I think it actually removed a point from my extra damage per shadow, and it kind of like broke my combo because you want to have exactly those 4 shadows for the massive buff and stuff. And it removed that point and was like, yeah. Like, thank you. Like,
Yeah, sometimes it can, you know, when you're leveling up and then you have like a chess piece with plus levels, you go and craft it in the crafting window and you put it back in, you put it back on your character, and then you realize after like another hour of gaming, you're like, hey, why do I have points to put in this skill? Like, I didn't do anything. Oh yeah, I crafted on this like an hour earlier.
mm-hmm. I mean, we talked about the factions already, so it seems like it's a bit mixed here between trade and this SSF here. For me, it's gonna be SSF. Okay, do you have any other questions here?
Just I do want to clarify because COF doesn't have to be SSF, right? Because you can play with people, so they're
Yeah,
they're a
okay,
little
it's not strictly SSF, I guess. Yeah, it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
SSF faction, but yeah, you can play with people. True.
Yeah. I
COF.
think I'm not going hardcore, for example, because I go MG. Like I don't want to have like only the hardcore like market. I prefer like softcore one because it's gonna be
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah, that's definitely
Yep.
like if you're like a trade guy, I guess softcore is the way because there's more people, and you know, I mean, I kind of like the hardcore economy. Like for example, like in PoE or so, like you know, have a kind of this like kind of like small high end, you know, player base, and
Yep.
I think it's gonna be similar here as well, right? We have this a small like high end hardcore blaster player base probably, like some people that stick around and go, you know, ham, and you know, these like extremely valuable endgame items that some people actually find and then actually like trade among, you know, like a kind of like, you know, you're gonna find like the same people kind of like around, I guess. It's gonna be pretty cool. So there is something to that as well, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe
because
maybe if
we have,
I
like,
live,
levels.
yeah, if I live, I might actually like, you know, switch from the SF mode to the trade mode. Yeah, no, not the softcore, but to the trade on hardcore. That would be cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have levels with the faction, so you like even the first week, not everybody is gonna be able to buy like the very like best unique with LP, for example. Like it's at level 8, I believe, of MG, that you can buy like any unique with LP. So there's already like gonna be like a VIP club of players that only them can buy like those items for the first few days.
Yeah. There's gonna be like 3 items listed, and I choose one. You know, like it's like,
Yo, Bina, is that your item? Oh, lower the
Yeah.
price, please.
Give me all the arboreal circuit, guys. All the arboreal circuit, okay?
okay. Do you have
Yeah,
anything
that's a
else
good
on chat,
question.
guys? No.
What's the like good cycle starters for beginners in 1.0? Like league start builds.
I heard there's gonna be a tier that's coming out very soon on Maxwell, huh?
Yeah,
Mm.
that is true.
I guess you guys are already preparing for that, I imagine. So yeah, just better keep an eye out on the Maxwell page for that stuff. But if you have anything to mention, you can say it now. Or do you wanna?
I mean, like we said before, like I think per class, like Primalist, Thorn Totem, Rogue, Shadow Daggers, Mage. There's like certainly Glacier. I was playing Shadow Strike today. Spellblade actually feels really good. Shadow Strike feels really good actually.
Yeah,
for
the
leveling
problem is
up.
getting to Shadow Strike. Like getting for it to feel good, like you kind of have to unlock what is it, Firebrand.
Holy Trail, Javelin on Sentinel feels really good as well. What class are you missing?
Or hammers, you know. Acolyte we're missing, I think.
Acolyte.
Yeah.
Yeah, Acolyte is different. Like if you play Necromancer, you can play like Minion Army, and like if you play Leech, I saw with the Warlock nodes, you can probably play like Poison Leech. It's gonna be pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like really cool. Like, you know, also interesting different archetypes and stuff. So very excited for that as well. I definitely want to, like, you know, I think if I rip on hardcore, I might just go again with like a different build and just pick something up and start blasting or so. I think that's also gonna be like a really cool way of like approaching hardcore, just like, you know, make a new build and try it, and then, you know, you also get to cycle through like a bunch of different the different builds and different archetypes. Just no minions for me. Like, I don't want to do minions.
I'm the same. No minions.
Hey,
Yeah.
no minions here.
I mean, the Falconer is fine, but, you know, like a Necro or something, nah. So
Or
Yeah.
you have to explode the minion. That's fine. But if you have to play the minion, oh no, please
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, we have some minion enjoyers here in chat for sure. I read the Rune Master is definitely something like that I also wanted. I was very intrigued by Rune Master, but I didn't actually play it yet. So last time I played, I just like continued with like one of my other characters to like experience the endgame more. But Rune Master also seems amazing. I'm actually a big Invoker fan. It's my favorite hero from, well, back then, old school Dota 1. So
Yeah, and you'd probably like
that's-
it then, because yeah,
Yeah.
it's influenced heavily by that.
yeah, I
You
mean,
would love it.
obviously, I guess. But yeah, like this was actually my favorite hero of all time in Dota. So I was maining that and playing that a lot on like even the ranked games and stuff. That was fun. So I'm like, excited to try Rune Master at some point. Okay, do you have anything else on chat? Otherwise, I guess we're gonna wrap it up. So, anyway,
Well, thanks for
everyone-
having us, Woody.
yes, I mean, it was really fun talk. And, well, for chat again, these are the Maxwell boys here. They're writing the guides, so send them some love. We have Tarek, McFluffin, Volker, and Binashol. Maybe also write it in the chat, and I'll give you all guys a shout out and stuff. And of course, Lizard is there, and we also had Boardman, who he was also on the team, right? Is he on the team?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he just wasn't able to make it.
Yeah,
this
exactly,
time,
yeah.
but he also wrote in the.
And
Falconer.
that's all of them. Or is there anyone else who I'm missing now?
There are, these are just the Falconer people that wrote it for it. But did you mention Lizard and Vision? Yeah, you did.
Lizard. No, not Vision. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not.
Vision GL as well.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna like pull this up here real quick. The team page. So those were the guys here, and then yeah, Vision, Boardman, Lizard. Look at that guy. And yeah, I mean, send us some love, guys, and obviously check out the Maxwell guides. So they are getting updated. There's gonna be lots of stuff, and yeah, everyone is gonna be ready to blast, I guess. Yeah, and then to you guys, thank you very much. It was fun.
Thank you, Woody.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe we hang out again, you know, on the launch, and you know, like just maybe blast together at some point. I mean, I'm really excited for it. So
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, man.
yeah, okay. In that case,
For sure.
yeah, hope you enjoyed the chat, and see you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep.
GG.
Thanks.
Bye, Woody. Bye, chat.